Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode 228. Don't hate, because we have a great episode for you today, and I rhymed twice right in the first 30 seconds of the podcast. How cool is that? We're going to talk about, well, I guess, maybe you don't consider it great considering the subject matter. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to talk about WWE's history with Saudi Arabia. Of course, they have a big premium live event coming up this Saturday. Crown Jewel, November 4th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to talk about some of the things they've done over the last 10 years while working with the Saudis, and we'll talk about some other stuff too. Podcast a lot shorter, so this is just gonna fly by today. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. I'm here in studio with, of course, my producer, Sean Flash Robbins. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Oh, guys, you don't have to clap for me. Oh my God, they love me.
I don't hear any claps. Is this something that you're putting in post?
I think it's your hard of hearing. It's you know how you're hard of hearing?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Huh?
I think that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, well, my right ear is slightly more closed than my left ear. This is a cerebral palsy thing. So I don't know if you know that.
No.
But you do now. The whole right side of my body just affected by the CP.
What about your right testicle and the right side of your shaft?
Those look pretty normal, ladies. Just throwing that out there. I mean, I've never really fully examined the right testicle.
Really?
I mean, it's inside of my
I know everything
sack.
there is to know about my testicles.
Really?
I feel like it's kind of weird that you don't look at it or whatever.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time with my dong over the years, but I've never, taken something to measure the circumference of one testicle as opposed to the other one.
You can't tell from the one is always lower.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, you could see it.
I'll have to take a closer look later.
That's for
on.
Patreon.
Yes. That could be for Patreon. Patreon.com/IronWrestling, where we do a buttload of bonus content. $3 gets you in the door for the audio. $5 for video, $9 you get involved in the Zoom chat, which we just did this past weekend. We talked about some stuff we'll never talk about on the podcast, but also we broke some news that I guess I'm going to break here as well. Before I do that, make sure you check out the rest of the Patreon, where you can get stuff in the mail, packages every quarter. We got something coming out for you in December, so sign up now. You have to be a part of Patreon for at least 2 months to get the goodies from the quarterly package. So hop on over there right now. Check it out. Patreon.com/IronOnWrestling. So many tiers. You can even be in studio with me. Wow. What a great time. Are you excited? You should be. And you should also be excited that, guess what? If you listen for free on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download podcasts, we're not going to be there anymore. We're leaving. Bye-bye. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Greg, these are some of the biggest podcasting platforms out there. Why would you leave these places? How am I going to listen to the show? Well, fear not, because Patreon now offers free tiers. That's right. you don't have to shed any tears because Patreon has free tiers for you. So think about it like this. You know how, like, chicks have OnlyFans? Okay, can I call them chicks? Is that allowed? Am I going to get canceled for that?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. Chicks have, like, OnlyFans. Dudes do, too. But, they got, like, free tiers to subscribe. And so, hopefully, you do these free tiers, and then maybe one day you get all boned up, and then maybe you want to pay for, like, a video or something from these girls, or some photos or something, or maybe you got, like, some sort of fetish that you want to request or something. The girls are willing to do it. That's what OnlyFans does. That's their business model. Well, Patreon now has a free tier where we're going to be offering the audio exclusively there. So if you like the audio, we want you to keep listening to the audio, but you're going to have to go over to Patreon, because we're going to be doing this, I believe, starting in December. I'll get an official date once I map everything out. But the goal is you enjoy the audio that you've already been listening to for free for 4 years now. Maybe one day you get boned up. Maybe you want some of that video content, baby, because we're still going to do the video podcast. But the audio, of course, will be free, as you would usually get it on Wednesdays. There'll be other exclusive audio podcasts, but, the video is where it's at, because you're going to get behind-the-scenes footage. You're going to get to see the video shorts that we're doing. We're taking priority over the regular show now, but you'll see them before anybody else. You'll get to make suggestions if you go up in the tiers, the $9 tier, for things that you want to see reviewed or covered. I got some cool things that I've taken notes on that I have an idea for to put videos out there for. So Patreon's going to be where it's at. And I don't know, Sean, I don't think anybody else is doing this with their podcast where they're moving right to Patreon, but I think maybe perhaps we might be ahead of the curve here.
I think so. I think you're a pioneer.
Okay.
A trailblazer.
Yeah, like Christopher Columbus.
I put a sound effect.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know what that sound effect is, but hopefully it ensures that I was just joking, and that we all know that Christopher Columbus is a terrible, rotten human being, and he did not discover America. And I don't know why we still celebrate that as a holiday, other than the fact that we get a day off work. We could celebrate having a day off work in October. That's cool. But, like, Christopher Columbus, what a piece of shit. Could we celebrate Columbus instead, the guy that helped make Home Alone?
Yeah.
Maybe we oughta. I think that's what we should do.
From one kid who got told he looked like Macaulay Culkin as a child to another, I think that's a good idea.
That is a thing, huh? Yeah, you got the Macaulay Culkin treatment too.
Oh, blonde, blue-eyed boys, I think.
Yeah.
In the 90s, probably. Yeah. Especially when the ones that like us who were being molested. That's why this guy's my producer, because he got the same sick sense of humor that I do. But, speaking of sick sense of humor, last week we also, on separate days, attended the same play. That's true.
Down at Cleveland Playhouse Square.
Not the same day, though.
Not the same day, but it was the Book of Mormon. And you know what? I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but right up my alley. Just sick and disgusting, and very much against... well, you know what? I was going to say against Jesus, but it pokes fun at religion. I could appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, the Mormons also are a fan of the show. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So I got some exclusive information from one of the cast members of the Book of Mormon after the show. Got to meet this individual. He played Jonathan Smith, a very tall man. I'm talking like 6'7". Mm-hmm. Tall individual. I don't even know if you could tell on stage he was humongous and probably should be like some sort of pro wrestler or something. But he performs in these plays that are probably paying him substantially more money than any independent wrestling show would. But anyways, he said that actually the Mormons, in many of the programs that they hand out, they have like a whole page taken out to join the Mormon Society, fraternity. I don't know what you would call it. But they are very much in support of the show.
I am surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because if I was a Mormon, I'd be like, well, this is offensive.
Yeah.
But as an atheist, I found it very fun.
Yeah. It was a very enjoyable show, of course, created by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and there was definitely, I could see the South Park vibes in it. Some of the songs too, it sounded like Matt and Trey should be singing the songs.
Yes,
So,
me and my wife were saying the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very enjoyable. So if the Book of Mormon ever comes to your town, I suggest you check that out. And, I guess I got to give a shout out to my girlfriend, Hannah, who's more in tune with the musicals and the plays.
Mm-hmm.
And she bought this as I got it on my birthday, but a late birthday gift. So I very much appreciate that. And, I would go see it again.
Yeah, me too.
And they should definitely turn it into a movie. It's very good.
Especially if they did the original Broadway cast. Because do you know who Josh Gad is?
I do not.
Well, I don't know how to describe the guy, but he's the goofier dude that made up all the lies in the play.
Okay.
And he's an actor that played that character.
Yeah.
Not him himself.
I got you.
But I'd like to see him in the role because he's fairly famous.
Yeah.
You might have seen him before.
I am not very in touch with current actors. I feel like an idiot sometimes because I'm so in tune with things that I cared about in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s. And then I became a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then I just, my pop culture literacy sort of drifts in and out, and I feel pathetic because of that.
Is it that way for a lot of wrestlers?
I don't know. I just maybe me more so because I was so obsessed with wrestling from
Sure.
2006 to probably 2017. Oh no, I have to be thinking about this every second of my life or else I fail.
I'm sure a lot of wrestlers probably feel that way.
Yeah, probably more than I think, but also I just feel I don't know, they're still in touch with humanity and society for the most part. I don't know. I feel the more delusional ones are the ones that sort of get caught up. The ones that suck. I'm delusional for sure. I was delusional at some points, but I don't know if I'm self-aware. I know my limitations. I feel some people that enter wrestling don't.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Do you have any examples? But you don't have to name names.
I could give a lot of examples, but what's a good example? I don't know.
I could bleep out their names.
You don't have to bleep out their names, but there's a lot of people that I don't have to name a wrestler per se, and I say that with air quotes, wrestler.
Okay.
Because it's the guys that that call themselves pro that don't make any money and don't go anywhere beyond 40 miles. But a lot of aspiring wrestlers, they don't understand you have to have some sense of how athletic you are. Is there potential for me to be athletic? Marketability as far as my look, an idea of maybe what a character could be. I can't tell you how over the years how many people get into wrestling or try to get into wrestling where it's they have WWE tattoos on their body. Literally there was a guy who used to come to Pro Wrestling Ohio that had a tattoo on his arm, gigantic, that said WWE for life. And literally, I can't tell you what that guy's name was because we called him WWE for life.
That's a good name for it.
Behind his back, of course. WWE for life. He's here to train again. And it was just one of those things where it's dude, how could you ever expect to get a job in wrestling when you have a fucking WWE logo slapped on your arm?
Yeah.
I mean, just...
Maybe it's because they're delusional, like you said.
Yeah.
And they're the WWE loves their logo being front and center. And if they put it on the actual wrestler, they'll put the belt on me.
Yeah. You know what I always thought was lame, too? When... totally unrelated, but when a wrestler in the WWF or WCW had the WCW or the WWF logo on their gear, I always thought that was
yeah.
Really? You couldn't think of anything better than that? I remember Taka had a WWF logo on his gear. I'm trying to think who had the WCW logo on their gear. A couple people.
I'm picturing it, but I can't think of who's in this gear.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're in a stable, I get it. Wear the stable gear, but why are you all oh yeah, WWF? I work for them, so I'm gonna put it on my gear. That's weird.
Yeah.
Fucking Matt Riddle was doing that. He had
did he have the NXT logo on there?
Well, he had the WWE logo on his trunks too.
Technically.
But see, he's flipping. He's parodying it, so that's okay.
That is okay then.
But if you're just putting the logo on your, because I work here now. It's weird that you're doing that.
It's lame.
I feel like the Steiners would put like a WCW logo on like their jacket and stuff.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, but I'm not going to tell them not to do it.
No. I'm sure Rick Steiner will give me a piece of his mind. It's funny that we have to talk about Rick Steiner being like the mean one now because he's all transphobic and everything.
True. I don't know if I find it funny.
The transphobia?
Yeah, I don't think transphobia.
I don't find it funny.
Those are your words.
I didn't say that. You shut your dirty mouth when you're talking to me, okay, Sean? You mentioned before we started recording too, and then of course we'll talk about the Saudi Arabia stuff in a little bit. But you mentioned, because I'm out of touch with the new video games, that there may or may not be a new Super Mario game out. Is this true?
This is true. It's called Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Is it Bros or Brothers?
Bros.
But are people calling it Bros, or are they saying Brothers like they always have?
People are just calling it Mario Wonder.
Have you ever heard anyone refer to it just ever as Super Mario Bros?
I've never heard anybody say Mario Brothers.
That can't be true.
I'm pretty sure people say Mario Bros. Maybe I'm wrong here.
No way. No one ever has looked at the word
listen.
Super Mario Bros. And said Super Mario Bros. They say Super Mario Brothers.
So when you see a word, you don't say that word in your head. You say a whole different word.
I just feel like it's been established that it is Super Mario Brothers.
Listen.
Also, who says Mario?
Oh, I hate people who say
people
Mario.
who say like Mario.
They're terrorists.
I don't like you.
No.
And I wish the worst upon you.
All right, listen, guys. Comment below if it's Mario Bros. Or Mario Brothers, and if you say Mario or Mario, and which testicle of Greg's do you think is the biggest?
Okay, this is just a weird podcast. But tell me about this new Mario game.
All right, so it's well, I feel like it's gonna come off cheesy to talk about certain things, but like it's not in Mushroom Kingdom, okay? It's in the Flower Kingdom. Okay, so it's like there's all these new enemies that you've never seen before, and they're fun to kill, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Like, here's an example. There's a guy who's a mummy, and he has like a little string hanging from behind him, and the way you kill him is you grab the string and you run away, and then he unwraps and dies.
I love that.
It is very fun.
That's awesome.
There's also like your normal guys, but there's a little bit of weird stuff though. Like they made it a lot more animated, you know, like when Mario goes through a pipe, his hat will like fall off, and then his arm will come out of the pipe, grab the hat, and pull it in. Okay. So that's cute. But then there's weird ones where like when a Goomba sees you, right before you land on them and you're jumping on them to kill them, they have like this face of like sadness.
Oh no! Like you're supposed to feel bad for them.
And you're like, well, I mean, die, Goomba.
Yeah, I mean they're being manipulated by Bowser, I guess.
That's
so
true.
To an extent, you have to feel sorry for them.
The game
but
has like wants you to feel sorry for the characters that you kill, which I guess is good.
Yeah, I mean I don't, but
yeah, not Goombas.
No.
What about the Koopa Troopas?
No.
You don't feel like you're killing a turtle?
No. In fact, you know what? Like if you had to name your least favorite, your least likable Mario villain, like as you progress in the games, which one would you pick?
My least likable?
Yeah, like the ones that you come across and you're like, fuck this dude, I hate him.
The ones that have spikes, like they're like the little turtle kind of guys, but they have spikes on the top.
I don't like those guys. No, I would have to pick the what was it, the ones that throw like
the sock looking things.
Yeah, they just,
or the Hammer Bros.
Yeah, the Hammer. I don't like
Brothers.
The Hammer Brothers. I don't like them, and I don't completely despise them, but the football players. Yeah. I don't like those guys from Super Mario World.
Super Mario World.
No, not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan either. I don't. Yeah, those guys, all those athlete characters.
Yeah.
I'm not into them. I like the ones that are really easy to kill.
Yeah.
But I do like the ones that throw like the hammers and the socks, because once you get good at killing them, you feel accomplished when you do. Yeah. Where you're like, idiot, you shouldn't have stand on a block that I'm going to hit with my head. Sure. Dumbass. Yeah. But I think you'd like the new Mario, though. It's different. I mean, it's like you have goals. Yeah. And so it's not just like, most Mario games that you've played, I'm sure, since you like the 2D Marios, are like, the goal is just to get to the end of the level. That's it. Right. But now there's like things that you have to collect, and you need them in order to get to the next world, basically. Okay. So you have to have a certain amount of them. So you have to do like little tasks in the level, but but there's no time limit anymore. So you're not like, so you get to explore and find secrets and stuff.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the only original Mario that I remember where it's like you kind of need something in the end is Mario 3. I'm trying to remember what the item is. Because if you use this item beforehand, you get to the last level, you will not win.
Oh, is that like whistle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, you can't go back to get it.
No, yeah.
You just might as well just reset the game. Like you're done.
My wife, I don't think she had a Nintendo when she was a kid, but she had a Nintendo 64.
Okay.
I had all the Nintendos because my parents played the original.
Okay.
And so, like, when you're like a little kid and you're playing a video game with someone older that knows what they're doing, and they're like, look, if you jump up here where you don't even think that you were able to jump, and then you keep walking, then there's like a secret to get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
And, it makes sense for back then when, video game systems couldn't save. So, like, getting to the end makes sense. But, like, that's how I've played it my entire life. So, like, when I first started dating my wife, we were playing Mario 3, and I was like, boop, 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 boop. And then I jump up there, and I'm like, now we're on World 8. And she was like, why did you do that? And I was like, to beat the game. And she was like, but then you don't get to play all the other levels. And I was like, that never occurred to me.
Yeah, well.
I've been missing out because I've been doing this way my entire life.
Oh, boy.
Now, so then it was like I got to discover Mario 3 all over again.
Yeah. It's like a whole new world.
That's right.
I used to hate Mario 2 as a kid because it was different than the other ones, but I learned to appreciate it as I got older.
Probably because you were like, wow, I'm Mario 2. Everybody hates me because I'm different than the others.
I never thought about it like that. Whew.
Yeah.
You got me right in this general area.
And now you love Mario 2. It is very odd though, kind of like you, and like because well, first off, you get to play as Peach, and that's sick because she could fly, kind of.
Yeah, unless you don't like women.
Oh, I love them.
And you don't think that women should be playable characters in video games.
Oh, so that's the reason you didn't like it?
I'm not saying I'm a sexist, but I'm kidding. It's a joke. Please don't cancel me.
He doesn't hate sex.
Come on. Yeah, I like girls, and I like playing as girls. I would dress up as a girl if I could. I'm probably divulging too much information.
Guys, comment below what color do you think will bring out Greg's eyes next week?
I mean, it's got to be blue.
No, you're right.
So.
All right, so maybe a blue dress?
Yeah, I can get into that.
All right.
Okay.
Wig or no wig?
Well, it depends. Well, hey, listen. By the time this podcast drops, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. You will see how hot I look as a woman because guess what?
What?
My random, obscure Halloween costume came back this week. Obscure wrestling costume. I got to be more specific. Yes, over the years, I've been Kane with Katie Vick. I've been Willie Nelson, specifically from WrestleMania 7.
That's my favorite one.
I've been the Giant Gonzalez.
Giant Greg Zalez.
Regrettably, I was Rick Steiner. I think that was the last one I did. At the time, he wasn't a transphobe, so we're cool.
He didn't discover he hated them until that specific day.
Yeah. This year, however, me and my girlfriend, she played the role of Trish Stratus, and I was Linda McMahon in a wheelchair, specifically from WrestleMania 17. So, if you've ever thought to yourself, gee, I have a thing for Lynn McMahon and I'd like to see more of her. And then you also thought to yourself, gee, I have a thing for Gregory Iron and I wish he would dress like Lynn McMahon, specifically in a wheelchair. Then this is the photo shoot for you. So, of course, I posted the one photo on my social media, but I probably have a whole catalog of them over on patreon.com/IronWrestling. And hey, who knows, I might even wear crazy socks in one of those photos. Does that get you going a little bit? Get you all chubbed up? Yeah, I bet it does. Sean, you like that?
Boy, do I. Imagine
that we're 2 days in the future and you've seen this photo of me as Lynn McMahon. Now talk about how hot I look.
So it's not too challenging for you going from one handicap to another, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
You've already been practicing your whole life for this role, to be honest. Sexiness level, probably a little under Linda McMahon because, I mean, she's a Stone Cold Fox.
Yeah.
There's a reason that she's, getting filled up with babies all the time.
Do you remember that time that Eric Bischoff broke into Linda McMahon and Vince's house and made out with Linda, but then talked about right in front of her, and now that we know this, Vince was producing the segment. He talked about how she was a big breasted beauty or something to her face.
Imagine if you have a guy who runs a rival company than you, basically.
Yeah.
And then you put him out of business, you hire him.
No, but wait, before he does that, though, this is his top price. I swear to God, if I ever get the chance, I'll put that son of a bitch out of business. And when I do, I'll then give him a job. And then after I give him a job, I'll make him rue the day he ever messed with me, because then I'll have him pretend to break into my house and make out with my wife in front of me. That'll show him. And I'll have him compliment her breasts, too. Yeah. I like that. While I'm at it, at some point I might grow a mustache, too.
You should also do the Vince voice and then say, because didn't he also make out with Steph?
You know what? I won't have him stop at my wife. I'll make out with my daughter, too. Right in front of me while she's dressed like a witch. Oh, yeah, that really gets me going. Ooh.
Did you see Vince with his sweet-ass mustache at the boxing fight over the weekend?
Listen, I don't want to bury anybody because, I might still get a job with WWE one day in some capacity.
Fingers crossed on the left hand.
But Vince's mustache, it's just, it's not good, and it somehow looked worse in Saudi.
Yeah.
He didn't try to dye it or something, or or kind of dyed it, but not really. I don't know.
Well, he was also with Mike Tyson and Marshall Mathers, the hip hop and R&B singer.
I did see a picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. 3 rapists watching a boxing fight together.
Okay. Well, some of that is alleged.
That's true.
I think Mike was convicted for a while.
You're the piece of shit.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, he got mad at that one news reporter for basically reminding him that he is a convicted rapist.
Yeah. Convicted rapists don't like being reminded of that.
I wouldn't imagine that they would.
No.
You know what? Why don't we just move on? And
if we have any convicted rapists watching, comment below. Do you like when people remind you?
Okay. I'm going to guess no.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
More convicted rapist content coming at you on the channel. Not sure why we're going to do that, but when we come back from this commercial, we are going to talk about something that isn't controversial at all. WWE's history in Saudi Arabia. Hey Aaron, why are you wearing this shirt?
I went through my closet and I could not find one really good shirt with a good shirt design. But if I had a shirt that I could pick any shirt in the whole world that I would wear a shirt that had maybe this band, Metallica, but I want the drummer and the bass player on a cloud in heaven because their granddaddy passed away.
Okay.
And then on this cloud, there's a second cloud. And it's James Hetfield and Matt Justice. And they have fishing poles. They've been fishing. I would have to find someone that could design that kind of a shirt.
If you do need a better t-shirt design, you should probably contact Juan Ortiz and Up the Dead Designs. He's a good buddy. He's been in the industry for over 15 years, and he's made some t-shirt designs for the most prolific people within professional wrestling.
Ellsworth?
No, he has not made designs for Team. But he has made designs for Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Seth Rollins, Undertaker. He's even made shirts and stuff for Iron on Wrestling. Check out this sweet logo. Hey, Sean, edit in that picture of our new logo with Aaron and myself on clouds with fishing poles. If you need a t-shirt design, a logo for your small business or your big business, or if you want to win over a girl, I've never done that before. If you mention Iron on Wrestling sent you, and you follow his new social media at Of the Dead Designs on Instagram, he's going to knock off $20 at his already cheap prices. Go to Of the Dead Designs on Instagram.
Weebly.
Go to his Facebook at facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing your artwork to life. This Saturday, WWE presents Crown Jewel from the Kingdom of Saudi. That's how they say it in the promotional stuff, I guess. And it's going to be a pretty monumental show. First one headlined by L.A. Knight. You know I wrestled L.A. Knight? I
did not know that.
Yeah, I wrestled him briefly in a tag match at Bar Wrestling a few years back. Another cancelable thing that we're talking about on the show. Doesn't exist anymore. And
why is that?
We don't have to go into it. All right. I think we already talked about. I'm not even going to. You know what? We talked about other stuff with sex at the top of the program.
That's how we started off.
Yeah.
That's the new thing. Every week, look forward to it.
Yeah, sex stuff on the wrestling podcast. We just call it on Iron on Sex Stuff.
There you go.
I wrestled him in a tag match, and it was fine. Gave him some chops. I think I did the suck my balls Rana to him. So LA Knight has. Why am I talking about sex stuff again? Okay. Anyways, it should be a good event, but these events in Saudi have been a little bit controversial. Not everybody wants to watch them and support them, and probably for good reason. It's really a mixed bag, that whole Saudi government thing, and we're going to talk about the history of WWE in Saudi and how that's all panned out over the years. Sean, you took some notes for this.
I did.
What do you got?
Whoops, it easy. Part of why it's controversial and why people, don't agree with WWE doing business with them, especially as, it's like the business relationship is strong between them. It's not just like passive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think part of it is, I know part of it is because of the Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The government there, they executed a reporter from who was actually a Saudi reporter, but he was a U.S. citizen, Jamal Khashoggi, and he was a U.S. resident as well. But they killed him in Turkey. He was visiting Turkey, and there's like video and audio evidence of him like being killed by these guys, and they actually dismembered his body with a bone saw. It's
a sad situation, what happened to this gentleman in Saudi, and obviously that should happen to no human, let alone an American, and the circumstances surrounding it, just not good all around.
No, it's tragic, and also it's disgusting to, I don't know. I mean, there was no repercussions. There was nothing happened of it. Like, it's just like, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were torn about these, when I say people, the wrestlers that were involved in the show, torn about being on these shows in general because of the Saudi government. And I think after this murder occurred, it just had some of the top guys be a little bit more vocal about the situation, one of which at that time was Daniel Bryan. He was originally scheduled for a match in Saudi with AJ Styles. I can't remember which show that was exactly. I'm sure it's right in front of me here. Crown Jewel 2018. He was scheduled to face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, but he refused to work there. As a result, the match was bumped to an October 30th episode of SmackDown.
Oh.
And he was replaced by Samoa Joe.
30th.
Today is October 30th as we're recording.
It's the anniversary.
And what are the odds of that? And it's a weird situation, and not just because of that particular killing, but because of the Saudi government. There have been several individuals who at various times didn't want to or could not go to Saudi for these shows. Kevin Owens, someone that stood their ground, mainly because not only did he not agree with the government, but his friend Sami Zayn was not allowed in the country due to his heritage and background. And it was only recently, the most recent one before Crown Jewel, what was that, Super Showdown? Is that what it was?
That sounds right. It was a good show. It was a good match.
Yeah, they Kevin Owens and Night of Champions. That's what it was. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defended their championships in the main event, which was it felt like a huge deal, and it was very cool. At least the idea that Sami could go there, he was finally loved and embraced. And honestly, I want to say it was the last show there. There were chants for Sami from the crowd, so it's like it just goes to show you that sometimes what these characters do stretches beyond religion and government. You know what I mean? And it's like, not everybody in Saudi is bad.
No. You could disagree with the government and not dislike the people who are the citizens of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, because the prince, and people, I guess people call him MBS, and he calls himself that.
Yeah.
He's like a more progressive than past, I don't know, monarchs or whatever that before him. I mean, women are allowed to drive now there and things like that. But also, he was in charge when Jamal Khashoggi was assassinated, so he's not, that progressive.
Right.
But, I mean, I definitely agree with disliking the whole idea because of what the government does there, because that is cruel and disgusting.
Yeah.
But, when there was the first women's match there, and you see what little girls in the crowd, and you're like, they've certainly never seen anything like this before. And that is really cool. Like, some things are just complicated.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe we should address all the controversies and sort of, get them all out there up front, and then we can kind of talk about some of the past matches they've had on these Saudi shows, which ones stand out, the best, the worst. Yep. But one of the better moments, because of the relationship with Saudi, does involve the match that happened on October 30th, 2019. They had a match between Natalya and Lacey Evans at Crown Jewel.
It's the anniversary of that match.
It's the anniversary of that match. It made it the first ever women's match in Saudi. At the time, they had to wear a full bodysuit and, of course, their wrestling T-shirt, which was like a big, oversized T-shirt over top of that. And they did that several times. I think they've relaxed a little bit with that. They're still wearing the bodysuit, and some of the girls have sort of been incorporating that into they've been stylizing it, if that makes sense. Like when Rhea went there sometime in the last year, she did like a Catwoman gimmick or some shit, so it's like they make it work for that particular situation. But and I'm reading a lot of this from Wikipedia, by the way, but something that's not listed here that I remember being an issue on one of the first Saudi shows might have been the Greatest Royal Rumble. They did, because again, they're still sort of slowly getting accustomed to this whole, treating women equal thing, something that we try to normalize here in the world, in other places other than Saudi. They ran a commercial for like some sort of upcoming pay-per-view or Raw or SmackDown or something during the Saudi live event, and some of the women were featured in it. And so they were featured sort of scantily clad, as opposed to, and by scantily clad, they're probably showing a forearm. You know when I say that, or something. Right. And Saudi government freaked out about it, and they gave WWE a lot of shit about that. And I mean, they didn't think about it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't think about like, oh, this is going to be a big deal when a woman shows up on the screen for 5 seconds in what could be considered, pretty normal attire by American standards and the rest of the world. And it was not a good situation there for a second.
Right. Plus, that first Saudi show was had all those commercials that were like Saudi Arabia propaganda, essentially. Yeah. So I feel like that's probably another reason that people were sour on it at first.
Sure. And what to kind of veer off course, not completely off course, but for a cup of coffee before Endeavor bought WWE, the big rumor there for a couple weeks, right before WrestleMania, was Saudi Arabia has bought WWE, or they're the one in the running, and like, man, people were pissed. And I gotta say, I don't know if I was pissed, but it was definitely a surreal feeling that it's like, wait, does Saudi Arabia really own WWE? Right. This is kind of crazy.
Right. I mean, it is their home.
Yeah.
According to Vince.
Well, that's what Vince said. I think it's, I think Vince is saying that because they are paying WWE a lot of money, and obviously it's good marketing to say that. I mean, they do have a 10-year deal with Saudi. I can get into the exact numbers here as we progress along. But, yeah, and also apparently Vince helped coordinate that deal with Dana White and UFC in Saudi this past week. So, also interesting just seeing, Undertaker and Vince together for the first time in a while. And just, I thought to myself, because I know Undertaker and Vince are close, I wonder, Undertaker's got to be the only guy who can look at him and go, Vince, the mustache man. Come on. Right? Like, I mean, if you're his real friend,
sure,
you could say that to him.
Right. Well, it's weird because he looks like Walt Disney, and not in a good way, because he looks like Walt Disney now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not so cryogenically frozen.
Yeah. Thaw him out and you've got another Vince McMahon. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. By the way, that's a myth. He's not cryogenically frozen. So.
You did go to Disney World, right? So that's how you know. Did they display the body there? Or?
One of the adults who are dressed up in a costume broke character. I'm not going to reveal who it was. Goofy. And he told me that it's not a real thing. So please don't fire him. Okay?
Well, why would they? We don't even know who it is.
Well, I didn't even say anything.
No, I know. You should cough like a sicko.
Yeah.
You have me at your studio and you're sick.
Sorry.
I'm disturbed.
Apologize.
That's all right.
What am I looking here in the notes? When we talk about women's rights with WWE and Saudi, Triple H at one point stated, this is a quote he said, "I understand people are questioning it, but every culture is different. Just because you don't agree with a certain aspect of it, you can't dictate to a country about how they handle things. WWE is at the forefront of a women's evolution in the world. We have had discussions about women competing. Hope in the next few years it will." Obviously it did. In 2017, women were able to attend WWE events if accompanied by a male guardian. So, yeah, that's a thing. And this was in response to a series of social changes by Crown Prince bin Salman.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's got it in the notes here. During the Greatest Royal Rumble, WWE aired a promotional video which included female wrestlers in their ring gear. The Saudi General Sports Authority issued an apology for, quote, indecent material that aired during the event. So that's insane. The second Crown Jewel event in 2018, Renee Young was done doing commentary on the show, and she reprised that role at 2019 Super Showdown. So that's cool. Very progressive there. And then before 2019 Super Showdown, reports emerged that WWE was attempting to add a women's match, that being with Alexa Bliss facing Natalya. The two women joined WWE personnel for the trip, but ultimately that match never occurred, which is why, of course, the first match that we got was Natalya and Lacey Evans. That Lacey Evans, she was in the news for a cup of coffee a couple weeks ago, being released from WWE. Do you think that she's going to do anything in wrestling anymore, Sean?
I certainly don't think she's going to do anything in Saudi Arabia.
No, probably not. Probably not.
But
no.
I don't know. I feel like maybe not.
I don't know what happened other than her getting pregnant for a second and leaving. It seemed like that Southern Belle character and that ya nasty thing was like sort of, I don't know, I was into it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I don't know what happened. And then they tried to do like 10 different characters with her, and then they let her contract expire.
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know. She doesn't seem like a person who really cares about being in wrestling, to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, based on the interview she did immediately after she was released, I don't think that's the thing she has any interest with going forward. So
maybe she could become a new co-host on the show. You, Aaron, and Lacey Evans.
Well, we can't call her Lacey Evans.
What are you guys going to call her? Lacey Irons.
It would be singular, not plural.
She'd be singular too?
Okay. Let's see. What else do we got here? Blah, 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 blah. So, sticking on the women thing before we move on here, when they first announced that they have a women's match, obviously there were a lot of people that were very open about that. They were cool that it happened. Like, wow, trailblazing here. But there were mixed reactions from other outlets. Heavy.com stated that the match was, quote, put in place to break barriers and further WWE's women's evolution for the proud ladies in attendance and watching all over the world. And for that, I have to give it the utmost props. Canoe.com stated that the historic match was about and meant so much more than its result. Newsweek put it over, and seems like on Wikipedia all they have is praise, but apparently it did get mixed reviews, and I could see why.
Yeah. But, I liked it.
CBS Sports criticized Michael Cole's commentary, pointing out that he was, quote, trying to put over the progressiveness of Saudi Arabia during the match. Like, hey, listen, he's doing his job.
Right.
In that moment.
It's the same thing as when he's like, what a historic match, brought to you by Bud Light.
Yeah, or like everybody, was making fun of him when he was like, WWE Network $9.99 constantly. It's like, guys, his job is to shill. And you could tell that since Vince has been out of power, Michael Cole's commentary has become great again. And, I say that because it's interesting that there was so much hate on Michael Cole for such a long time because, I don't know, I always remember enjoying Michael Cole for the most part.
Especially during the Attitude Era when he first started out. Because I was like, oh, he's not an old man like the other commentators.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I didn't have a problem with Michael Cole. I always thought he did a great job with Jerry Lawler on SmackDown. I think his best work at the time was with Taz.
Definitely.
I would say that Pat McAfee has really reinvigorated Michael Cole with his commentary. And just, I don't know, I think Michael Cole is going to be one of those commentators that once he's gone, that's when he's going to get his flowers and people are going to appreciate him for what he did. And the longevity, I don't think there's been anybody else in the history of WWE that's had a career that's 25 years on commentary consistently. That's pretty crazy.
What was it? Did you ever listen to Colt Cabana's podcast where he would have people call in a story and leave like a voicemail? And so it would be fans.
Yes.
Did you ever hear the Michael Cole one that someone told?
No.
So this dude, he was telling a story about him. He was at a bar, and he was in town for WrestleMania. And Michael Cole was at the bar, and he comes in, and they were like, oh my God. Him and his buddies were like, oh my God, it's Michael Cole. And they're like, oh, should we talk to him? What do we say? And then they go up to him, and they're like, all right, are you Michael Cole? And then he turns around and he goes, yes, I am. Who wants to ride the Cole train? And then he buys everybody drinks.
What the hell? How's that a real thing?
I don't know.
Apparently, Michael Cole is really close with Shawn Michaels, and they've been hunting a bunch and stuff. And I just find that I don't know. To me, that's a weird friendship.
It is.
I can't imagine Michael Cole and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, murdering animals together.
Yeah, that's a thing. You ever hear when Michael Cole was on Howard Stern? I think that's my favorite.
I never heard
Michael
that.
Cole thing. Okay, you want to hear what he said to a fan who called in that was sort of criticizing him and Taz on commentary?
Oh yeah, I do.
Gonna play it real quick for you. Hold on.
Well, I wish Taz was doing the show solo. Hey, listen. Hey, listen, fuckhead. You can do whatever you want to do. You can put me on mute. You can turn the goddamn channel for all I care. All I know is I've been doing that show for 337 episodes, so I must be doing something right. And what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I'm hosting a goddamn national television show, and now I'm on a goddamn radio station at the invite of Howard Stern. What the fuck are you doing? And you're listening to us now. So obviously you didn't hit the fucking mute switch tonight, asshole.
So there you go.
Dude, that dude did not want to ride the Cole train.
No, not even a little bit. So
what a bum.
That actually made me like Michael Cole a lot more when I heard that for the first time. I was like, oh man, he just told this guy off.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, fuckhead. Anyways, yeah. So Aleister Black was another guy who didn't want to travel to the country. They had the travel issues from Crown Jewel in 2019, where a charter flight back to the United States carrying roughly 200 WWE employees, including performers and staff, was delayed at the international airport there for multiple hours. WWE and the airline Atlas Air officially stated that the flight had been grounded for mechanical issues. But reports from former WWE Spanish language commentator Hugo Savinovich and wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer, he gave the flight a dud. So,
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Took you a second there, but get that one, John. It's okay. It's okay. Dave Meltzer. Dave. Did he really? I gotta go back. What did he rate other flights? Ric Flair's flight back in the 70s. Ooh, he broke his back, so we're gonna give that -2 stars.
Yeah. The plane ride from hell, 2 stars.
Yeah, well, some people on that flight would give it 5 stars, but.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer suggested that disputes with the Saudi government over missed payments to WWE for the previous shows were a factor in the delays, including the presence of Saudi military police. 20 WWE employees, including Vince McMahon and 12 wrestlers, booked their own flights back to the States, while the following night, SmackDown in Buffalo was retooled to primarily feature talent from the women's division of NXT, which actually, that was one of the better SmackDowns at the time.
Wasn't Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan the main event?
Yes,
that was good.
It was amazing, and I think in retrospect, that was our first taste of what a Triple H WWE would be like. I mean, it was sort of impromptu and thrown together, but like, man, I remember that show got praised, so much high praise at the time, because like, oh, it was totally different. Like, there was good wrestling on the show, and here we are in 2023, and Triple H is in power, and wow, there's good wrestling on the show. Stories are coherent. They will announce something the week before, and they'll do something next week. It's crazy how that works.
It is all because of well, I actually remember when everybody was stuck or whatever, that it was kind of scary.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember being like, oh man, because like, imagine if now I'm not trying to be morbid here, but I mean, if like most of the WWE roster was murdered, that would that would be fucking nuts.
Yeah, that would be insane, and definitely a huge news story, and yeah, it would really alter, I think, a lot of professional wrestling. I mean, we're not just talking wrestlers here. We're talking like employees, staff, and how that would affect their families, and I think that would make people question their dealings with Saudi Arabia going forward. And listen, the whole big thing with Saudi Arabia, obviously, isn't listed in Wikipedia, but like for years, they've been trying to do things where they create this propaganda by paying top dollar to big sports leagues and things to bring events into their country to make them think like, yay, like things are changing here, we're progressive. Like one of the big things was like they bought a lot of the PGA guys and did their own golf thing, so that was like a big deal. Like they're paying these dudes 10 times more than they're getting from the PGA and all this shit. So it's like, again, there's a lot of controversy involved with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I was listening to Meltzer and Brian Alvarez talk about it earlier earlier today, and Meltzer was saying how the idea, what Saudi Arabia wanted was to be like the new Las Vegas, and that seems like it's pretty accurate.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. So, I mean, there's a lot of negatives, and we've got some positive matches out of the Saudi events. We've had some positive shows. If you take out the fact where they're doing it, for 10 years now, they've been in Saudi. Of course, their first premium live event was in 2018 for the Greatest Royal Rumble, but actually, they started going over there for house shows way back in 2014. They did some SmackDown branded events April 17th through the 19th of 2014. They went back in 2015 for some shows, and then they went back in 2016 for a couple days for some shows. Greatest Royal Rumble was the first show back on April 27th, 2018. The 50-man Royal Rumble match. Yep. And I think what's most notable about this first real big venture into Saudi Arabia was the fact that some of the people requested for this Royal Rumble by the Saudi leader, I guess he didn't realize they weren't with the company and or were dead. Most notably, he wanted Yokozuna in this Royal Rumble match, not knowing that he had tragically passed away, 20 years prior. Yeah. So a random sumo guy was booked for the Royal Rumble. I guess the idea was, he looks, if you look at him and squint from far away,
sure,
he could look like Yokozuna. Maybe he'll go for that.
Yeah, he sort of looks like a Samoan guy playing a Japanese guy.
Yeah. And this show, it had a casket match with The Undertaker and Rusev. It was not bad. It was originally supposed to be Jericho for a second.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then they changed it to Rusev, and then I think it was, and it wasn't a casket match, and then it was Rusev, and then it wasn't a Rusev. I can't remember, but they did a lot of changing. But it happened, and it was 9 minutes long.
I think the most notable thing from that first show was Titus O'Neil tripping and falling under the ring.
How can we not talk about that? Titus Whirl Slide. Literally, I'm sure this has been said before, but that dude is lucky he did not decapitate himself.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny the way it turned out.
Right.
But the fact that he was able to perfectly slide under the ring without hitting, like, one of the metal beams underneath.
He could have ended up like Ted Beneke from Breaking Bad.
Oh, God, yeah, that would not be good.
No, it would have been morbid.
Braun Strowman ended up winning this Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And he got some belt.
I actually liked that belt.
I liked it too, but we never saw it again, and nothing ever came of it.
But I just liked that it actually had like a design to it, and it wasn't just the WWE logo.
Yeah, I guess probably should have been some sort of stakes other than a belt for winning that match, considering it was the... They should have just called it the biggest Royal Rumble, because the greatest, very forgettable, honestly. The only thing that I remember about that match is, like, I think Braun Strowman eliminated the most guys, and Daniel Bryan was in there for the longest amount of time. I think longer than any Royal Rumble in history.
Do they count that?
Like I think they do. I think they do. Yeah. I mean,
but and then the most notable again, the Titus O'Neil slipping and falling under the ring. Probably one of the greatest moments of wrestling history.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Probably sold a couple T-shirts off that one.
Top 10 best moments ever.
The next show that they ended up doing was Crown Jewel. That was November 2018, and that is remembered for the return of one of the greatest of all time, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
DX versus Undertaker and Kane. I know what you're thinking. Wow. Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Collectively, these four individuals have had some of the most memorable matches and stories of all time. Well, guess what? This match, you probably want to go out of your way to see it for all the wrong reasons. It's bad. I mean, you know what? It's not bad. It's good considering that Shawn Michaels had been retired for like 8 years at that point, came back and had to try to save a match by himself after Triple H tore his pec, doing a spot that he had done hundreds of times before that. He went to go and flip over the top rope, that Harley Race bump that he likes to take in the corner. And I think what happened was, because Shawn was in the corner for the spot, he tried to avoid hitting Shawn, and in doing so, he probably rotated in a weird way that he doesn't normally do, and that instantly tore his pec.
Yeah.
But, Shawn had to try to save that match, and Triple H still kept going.
Yeah, as one does.
It wasn't the first time that Triple H had an injury and kept wrestling, and probably made the situation worse.
Yeah, but this time we didn't get a cool little video of him.
Yeah, we did need a Beautiful Day package after the fact. It's unfortunate we didn't get that. Kane's mask randomly fell off during the match. Obviously, we know what he looks like at this point, but that was just... I mean, as if it couldn't have got any worse.
I've never seen the match, but
you're missing out.
Is it so bad that it's good? Is it the Trolls 2 of wrestling matches?
I think if you're gonna pick a match from Saudi that was so bad that it was good, you might have to go Goldberg Undertaker, which we'll get to in a second.
Isn't that the one where Undertaker almost killed Goldberg?
I think Goldberg almost killed Undertaker.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can't kill what's already dead.
Okay, well, I think that's just the character. I think he was actually gonna almost kill the real human being.
Oh.
So.
Well, that would have been a bummer. A lot of people almost dying on these shows.
Crown Jewel is also remembered for Shane McMahon winning the World Cup and becoming the best in the world. Do you remember that phase? It almost seems like after Shane McMahon came back to randomly do Hell in a Cell with Undertaker, literally everything he did after that just seems like a dream.
Yeah.
Like, literally he became a bad guy and started calling himself the best in the world. And he feuded with The Miz. And they had a match at WrestleMania. Like, that doesn't even seem like a real thing that happened.
Right. But, yeah. Well, I still think his last year's WrestleMania moment was my favorite.
Oh, boy. That was... Yikes. You got to feel for him in that one. I mean, his first mistake was, Shane, you whipped the guy. Then you dropped down and leapfrog. You don't do a drop down. If you whip, the drop down is to evade the... Okay. I shouldn't have to explain this, man.
But Snoop Dogg pulled a Shawn Michaels and saved the moment.
Snoop ruled.
Yes.
He was right there. I mean, I think there was some communication to the ref and then relayed it to Snoop. But regardless, I mean, how many other celebrities could have pulled off something like that
Nobody.
in that moment.
As soon as Shane dropped it like it was hot, Snoop Dogg was in there to save the day.
Yes. Yes, he was. The next show that they did in Saudi, show number 3, Super Showdown, that's where we got Goldberg and The Undertaker, and Goldberg ended up busting himself open in the corner, bleeding everywhere.
He does. Remember when he hit himself with the door? Or hit the door and he was bleeding?
Yeah, well, he did that all the time. And then at some point, no one told Goldberg, like concussions,
yeah.
CTE, that's a real thing, man. Didn't realize that as you get older. I mean, you probably shouldn't do that at any point in your life, but, it gets progressively worse of an idea to just keep headbutting doors as you approach your 50s, and he's definitely paid the price for that. I just remember out of this match with Undertaker and Goldberg that the look on Undertaker's face after that match was the look that I've had on my face after several matches where I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Why? Why did I just have this match? Can I erase it now from my memory and all of history?
What are some of the matches that you thought that?
Well, right off the top of my head, the match where I injured my penis against those 2 guys in New Jersey that sucked. I remember, I didn't realize I injured my penis in that moment, but I threw a Shawn Michaels-like tantrum, and I definitely had an Undertaker-like face afterwards because it was so bad. I mean, to the point where, the guys walked up to me after the match, very large African-American gentlemen, and they said, hey, everything okay? And I'm like, no, you guys suck. And Cowan was like, what are you doing? I was just like, it's true. These guys suck, dude. And I just freaked out. And, it was, I had an Undertaker look at my face. I'm not saying it wasn't the look of Goldberg sucked.
Sure.
I think it was more of a mixture of we didn't have chemistry, and this is probably one of the worst matches I've ever had. And maybe I'm not delivering the Undertaker performances that I would like to. And perhaps maybe I should wrap up.
Performances that you used to deliver.
Yes.
Well, all right. So for the people who don't know, what happened to your penis, and why were these large African American men the blame for your broken penis? It snapped in half, right?
Basically, the whole match was going horribly wrong, and no, it did not snap in half. My penis still exists, still functions. Easy, big fella. Not sure why I'm grabbing my hip over here.
The left side, anyway.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, we're going back to that, huh? And, basically, they crotched me early, okay? So, when I crotch myself on the top rope, which is a spot we do in wrestling, most guys can do it with 2 hands, okay? I have to do it, obviously, with 1. I have cerebral palsy. But I wasn't even positioned to be crotched. And this match is already in the shitter, okay? This guy just hits me. I have to pretend like I crotched myself. So, if my crotch is usually this far above the buckle, I was, basically sitting on it. So what happened was, and it didn't hurt in the moment, but I basically sat on my penis, okay? And then after the match, I got to the back, and as the ref tried to apologize to me for the match, I'm like, just get away from me, dude. I saw the spot of blood on my crotch. And I looked at Zach Gow, and I go, great, my dick's probably bleeding too. Which was a joke. Turns out my dick was actually bleeding, and I spent the whole night in the hospital and had to drive home from New Jersey with a catheter in my pee hole after having several things shoved in and out of my urethra multiple times. So, and again, if I were to take this and just start pouring this on the ground, this drink, that's what it looked like with the blood pouring out of my penis. It was horrific.
We'll have to add pictures and post.
Okay, yes, we will.
I think this is why we get along. I also had things in my penis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
By choice?
Well, not my choice, but my doctor's choice.
Okay.
I had, when I was maybe 19, it was December 23rd. I remember because it's the worst day of my life.
Okay.
My doctor was like, hey, I was 19, all right? So this doctor's like, I'm like, hey, doc, I just wanted you to know that it burns when I pee, and I'm really wondering what that's all about.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, maybe you've got an STD. And I was like, well, maybe we should give that a check. So then we, do some tests, normal kind of tests that you would think, blood tests, this and that.
Yeah.
Then he's like, you don't got any STDs. And I was like, well, that's weird. And he was like, well, maybe you've got a narrow urethra. And I was like, okay. Actually, first he was like, maybe you have something wrong with your prostate. We're going to have to give you a prostate exam.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, oh, because when you're at a doctor's office and your doctor says something, you're like, okay, he means next time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm just going to say okay. I'm not going to be like, no. I was like,
Sure.
oh, yeah, okay. And he's like, all right, well, bend over. And I was like, oh, you meant now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And he was this older man, all right? And I didn't know what to say because I had gotten a prostate exam before.
Yeah. And this is something you've always thought about, but you're like, I can't
Right.
believe this moment's really happening right now.
Oh my God, here we are.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Yeah. I was flustered.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like after he was done, during it, I was like, have you ever had a prostate exam? He was like, yeah. I was like, do you like it?
What?
And he didn't answer me.
Yeah.
So which means yes. And then
Okay.
afterwards I said, I thanked him. And I do think that was weird too. And then I had to get another prostate exam for some reason, okay? Because he was like, it's tender. And I was like, well, I don't really know what that means. Like, I know what tender means, but is it not supposed to be tender?
Yeah.
And he was like, we're going to have to give you another one of these next time. And I was like, okay, next time. So then my dad's driving me to this appointment, a couple weeks later. And he goes, just so you know, sometimes when men are getting a prostate exam, they come. And I was like, well, thanks, Dad.
Why did your dad say that?
I don't know. I was so scared. I was like, please don't come.
Yeah.
I don't want to come with a dude's finger in my ass.
Yep.
And, so then this other prostate exam, the guy's like, you know what? You're going to have to get this, I don't know how he worded it, but it's like a colonoscopy in your penis.
Yeah.
A penisoscopy. So they clamp my penis down with this metal clamp, and then they shove a camera in there, and I'm awake for this entire thing, not numbed or anything, which I guess would probably be good. I don't want to get a shot in my dick. And then afterwards, he's like, well, you don't got a narrow urethra. I think it's anxiety. And I was like, could we just have thought of that first? That was, the worst day of my life because, my problem was that it burned when I peed. Well, it definitely burned way more after having a camera shoved into my cock hole.
Sure. Yeah. Now, next week, we're going to talk about how Sean and the doctor reacted when he ejaculated following the second prostate exam. But for now...
Comment below. How much do you think there was?
I just wanted one more thing about this show with Undertaker and Goldberg. On this show, I don't know if you guys have heard the current reigning and defending WWE champion, Roman Reigns. He's been champion for 1,100 days or something.
I heard of that guy.
He was actually defeated by Shane McMahon on the show in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Don't remember that? Maybe you have to go back and watch it. Again, this whole Shane McMahon run for 4 years, just really a blur. Crown Jewel, 2019. This was, it looks like bad Photoshop because I forgot that this was a thing. This was Braun Strowman versus Tyson Fury and Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez.
Oh, yeah.
That was a guy.
He's a murderer.
Yeah, didn't he murder someone though that was a child rapist?
Yes,
or
I
something?
think they molested his niece or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're still not allowed to murder them.
That's unfortunate that you're not for being a child rapist.
Yeah,
but
it's lame.
I feel like that should be okay.
To murder them, not to.
Yeah. Yes, to clarify. Yes. Jesus Christ.
Why don't you take a seat?
Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez only went 2 minutes and 10 seconds, by the way. So.
Wow, what a match.
Yeah. Anything else on this show of note here? Bray Wyatt defeated Seth Rollins in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Oh, yeah,
for the
that's
WWE
right.
Championship. This
was that the first time he won it?
Did he win it, or did he retain it?
Oh, he was the champion already?
I think he was.
Oh, okay.
I think he was the champion. Let me see here. No, he did win it. He did win in this match. Match cannot be stopped for any reason, apparently, was one of the stipulations. So, yeah, maybe that was the first time he became the Universal Champion.
Oh, okay.
There.
Yeah.
I think the next show that we go to here, Super Showdown, that's where he loses the Universal Championship. See, no one could stop The Fiend. Okay? No one could beat him. Literally in Hell in a Cell, it ends in a DQ.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, because the ref was like, Seth, I don't like who you're becoming, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta have this match before you really get bad.
Well, because nothing was stopping The Fiend, like including like a giant, like ridiculous cartoon hammer, multiple chairs and tables and whatever else they used. But it only took one jackhammer from Bill Goldberg. And when I say jackhammer, it would look more like a vertical suplex. Just like a bad vertical suplex to defeat The Fiend.
Wasn't that match supposed to go the other way, but Goldberg was like, man, kids are looking up to me. I can't lose this match.
You know, I don't know if that happened. Because here's the thing. I think Goldberg got a bad rep back in the day for being a guy that was like business, didn't really care about it, which was true. It was, and Goldberg will admit that himself. But I really feel like in these last runs in WWE, I think he was better to deal with, and I think he had more of a purpose for coming back. Like Goldberg always wanted to be a hero for kids, but I think also he just wanted to show what his wife had never seen him as Goldberg the wrestler. Yeah. His son had never seen him as Goldberg as a wrestler. I think it was a good opportunity for his kid, when he was like 10, to come out on pay-per-view and take his shirt off in the ring. Yeah. And Goldberg was like a big fan of that for some reason, just like his chubby little kid who now is like incredibly in better shape than I'll ever be in and super athletic. But, I don't know the circumstance. I would just imagine it was a Vince call and he was just like, it's a Marco Road match. Should be Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Also, you think we can bring back Eric Bischoff to make out with my wife Linda in the middle of the ring? What do you think?
That was the rumors. Yeah, that they were going to do that. I wonder what happened.
I'm salivating at the mouth thinking about it. Huh. All right.
That would have been good.
What if I wear a do-rag?
What's that one thing he said? Say it verbatim.
Which one?
John Cena and Booker T was back there.
I don't know what you're talking about. We've deleted that from the network.
Okay.
So whatever happened.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think you should always have at least one episode a month where you don't say the N-word.
Crown Jewel 2021. Let's see, what was the relevant thing on this show? Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar. That's the heavyweight championship match on the show. Trying to think of anything else of note on here. Edge and Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell match. That was actually a good match. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Seth has a good history in the Hell in a Cell. Yeah. He had a good one with Dean Ambrose a few years ago. Obviously, I think one of the more iconic Hell in a Cell matches in recent years is going to be Cody versus Seth, for obvious reasons. I don't know if there's anything else of note from this show. This is the 6th event from Saudi Arabia, by the way. The next one that we have is Elimination Chamber 2022. They like bringing these special events to Saudi every now and then because they're paying millions of dollars for a decade. And this Elimination Chamber match we had two. We had the women's. Bianca Belair defeats Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, Liv Morgan, Nikki, Jesus Christ, ASH.
Oh yeah.
And Rhea Ripley.
What does that stand for again?
Almost a superhero.
SHIT is the better superhero training.
I would agree. What do you think is a worse name, though? Nikki ASH or Doudrop?
That's tough because they're both just so bad. Probably Doudrop. Because at least, like, sometimes wrestlers have their initials as a name, so you could think of it like that.
Yeah.
But Doudrop is just probably one of the worst wrestling names of all time.
I would say so.
Maybe N-word taker might be.
Hey, it's that time of year to have him back on the podcast, huh? We got probably in about 4 weeks for the Thanksgiving tradition. I'll have another interview with the Soul Taker, and he'll be doing the interview while he's working out in the gym. It's too good to make time to just sit down and do a podcast with me. Wow. He's got to be working out while he's doing it.
Now that you have a video podcast, he doesn't want to come on?
I'll have to invite him to the house, drive from Michigan. Death Valley. I don't know where he's from. exactly.
Death Valley, Michigan.
Yeah, Death Valley, Michigan. That makes sense. In the Elimination Chamber match, the most memorable moment of that is when Brock Lesnar tried to kill Austin Theory by like F5ing him off off the top of the pond. Like, why was that a thing that happened?
Yeah.
That was insane. What else do we got here? Crown Jewel 2022 was the 8th event. And that was Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. Actually, like a really good match.
Yeah.
What was that? Logan Paul's third match ever?
Right. I think that was when people first were like, whoa, Logan Paul's really good.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I already thought going into it, like there's gonna be no issue with this match whatsoever. Like Logan Paul's gonna do incredible because it's just like he doesn't move like a novice performer.
Right.
Like he just. And it helps probably that he has like a shitload of practice and he does it with Shawn Michaels, but like still, to go out there and perform for your third time in a main event scenario like that,
yeah,
insane.
I mean, because before him, I thought, you watched All In, the original one, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, because Matt Cross is on it. So so I thought Stephen Amell I was like, oh wow, he might be the best actor or like celebrity that become to have a wrestling match.
Yeah, and I think at that point he probably was.
Right, but not no more.
Not no more. It seems like every celebrity now is like the requirement is you have to also be a good wrestler somehow. Like Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
Like how good was that match with him and Damian Priest?
Yeah.
Like in Puerto Rico? Like
right.
Insane.
I'm happy for it. It's better than when it would be like Shaq. I mean, his match in AEW is actually pretty good, but
yeah, it wasn't bad.
But not like every time when he was rumored to be going to fight or wrestle the Big Show, you'd always think like, oh my god, the match is gonna suck.
It's like it sucks that like there was such a big gap in like celebrities that cared about their in-ring performance. Like until we got people like Stephen Amell and Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, like the only one before that I remember caring about, their performance in a wrestling match and just really showing their technical expertise was Drew Carey back at the 2001 Royal Rumble. So just a large gap in time there.
Yeah, and that was the first 5-star Royal Rumble.
I think it was. Yeah, Meltzer was just like this Drew Carey, he's got a future.
I mean, he eliminated the Hardy Boys, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Kind of, but not really.
Well, I mean,
they fell out on their own. But let's just go with it.
Yeah, I feel like it was Drew Carey being there. And he's a Hall of Famer.
He is. It's true.
And rightfully so.
Yes.
Maybe one of the best, actually, probably the best pro wrestler ever to come out of Cleveland.
Yeah, I wonder if his stand-up comedy show that he was hyping on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, that was also a pay-per-view, I wonder if that's a Hall of Fame pay-per-view. I wonder how many people actually ordered that pay-per-view.
If you ordered that pay-per-view, comment below.
Okay. All right.
And let us know what you thought.
The next Saudi show, which was actually the last Saudi show, obviously it's remembered for that tag match, Night of Champions with Sammy and Kevin Owens. What a great ovation that Sammy got. But also, that's when we crowned our first World Heavyweight Champion in Seth Rollins, who beat AJ Styles. Still the World Heavyweight Champion, but now that World Heavyweight Championship could be in jeopardy.
Oh boy.
Because this Saturday, he's going to defend it against Drew McIntyre. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I got to guess Drew McIntyre's not going to win because rumor is that he hasn't re-signed his contract, and I feel like it's not a good idea to put the title on someone that doesn't have the contract. Or perhaps maybe you can get him to sign a contract if you give him a little bit of incentive, like, hey, brother, you want to be the World Heavyweight Championship? Well, why don't you just sign this bad boy right here? What do you think?
That sounds just like Triple H.
That's how they do it. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does. I talked to Johnny.
Uh-huh.
That's how the discussion went down. He's like, you want to sign a contract to be a wrestler here? And Johnny was like, yeah, man, I guess. And then he was like, let me show you this bad boy. He slid it across the table, and he tipped his hat like this. 'Cause Triple H is known for wearing his hat.
Yeah, I feel like the way that you're describing it, he sounds like an old prospector.
Hey, we know prospecting is illegal, okay?
Okay.
So, Jesus.
Oldest profession.
We do not endorse prospecting,
yes.
all right?
Well, on Patreon we do.
Okay. Seth Rollins is going to wrestle Drew McIntyre this Saturday. Rhea Ripley is in a fatal 5-way for the Women's World Championship against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm going to guess Rhea retains. I don't see why she would lose. But I could see them pissing off the world by just randomly making Nia Jax the champion.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I wouldn't do it if I were them.
Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship. I'm going to guess Logan Paul wins that. I just feel like it's better publicity for the company. I could see him hanging on to that thing until like WrestleMania, and him doing a big money match with someone. But now, if Logan Paul was to win the U.S. Championship, Sean, is there someone that you would want to see him defend it against at WrestleMania? This is all hypothetical.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, I'd like to see, let's see, maybe Ricochet. I feel like that, they have like that moment from Royal Rumble, and they'd have a really sick one-on-one match for a title in a WrestleMania.
Yeah, it seems like they're still continuing something there.
Yeah.
They just had Logan Paul mess with his girl Samantha last week on the show, so
yeah.
I'm sure at some point he's going to have to defend that title before WrestleMania. So if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it could happen beforehand. But that's my prediction for that one. Of course, we have Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. No stakes on the line here. I'm going to guess Cody wins, keeps his momentum going, creates more turmoil within the Judgment Day. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. The big story has been that since the Greatest Royal Rumble, actually the first event that they had in Saudi, John Cena's not had a win in WWE since that. So 2018.
Wow.
He's been on quite the losing streak. And he's been borderline almost crying on the show saying if he doesn't win this match, he's a failure. And he feels like the WWE Universe is going to give up on him.
Oh.
He's taught us since we were children to never give up.
No, I know.
John, we're going to stick with you.
Yeah.
Trust us.
For life. WWE for life.
I think John Cena's going to win this one.
Yeah. He should. Well, isn't Solo undefeated besides one time, or?
He's lost a couple times at this point. He also lost to LA Knight, who was in our main event, but we'll get to that in a second. The other match is the Women's Championship match. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. I think Io's still going to retain.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm liking Io.
Yeah.
And I just feel like she's got a little bit left in the tank with this Women's Championship run.
I got to agree.
Main event, LA Knight versus Roman Reigns. I don't know what the finish will be for the Undisputed Championship. I do know that LA Knight will probably not win.
No.
If I had to guess, but they have to give him an out. Now, a lot of people are saying like, wow, why even book LA Knight with Roman Reigns? He's got so much momentum, blah, 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 blah. Listen, okay, there are things in history, wrestling history, that you can cite where it's like, they did this to this person, and this hurt their character, and they never came back from it.
Yeah.
But I think we jump the gun far too often, and we say like, well, this thing happened and it killed this character's momentum, and they buried him.
Yeah.
And then like someone like Sami Zayn, like there's been shit where people have been like, they buried him, and now he's like the top guy. So like,
there
are
outliers.
Did they kill him? Like he definitely came back out of that hole. Here's the thing. Here's the example I'm going to give to you guys. LNA versus Roman Reigns. Maybe it ends in a DQ or something. It'd be nice to give him like a DQ victory over Roman. It would be a shitty way to end the show, I guess, for those in attendance, but it would be an easy out. But think about this. 1997, there was a guy that was really on the upward swing. Had a lot of momentum. Could have been WWE champion at that point in 1997. His name was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Have you heard of him?
I thought you were going to say Jeff Jarrett.
No.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's that bald fellow, huh?
Yes. He had a goatee, small trunks. I think he was copying off of Goldberg. Anyways, Stone Cold Steve Austin actually had a pay-per-view WWE Championship match almost a year before his WrestleMania 14 victory against Shawn Michaels. That was at Cold Day in Hell, 1997. I believe that was May of 1997. Point is, he wrestled The Undertaker, and he was not successful in that venture. I do believe that there was some interference from the Hart Foundation. I don't remember exactly. I go back and watch that match. But the point is, they put him in a position to where he's closing the show, but also you get to put him up with the top guy. And somehow, some way, I think Steve, even in losing, came out of it better than he was before that. And I just think that LA Knight's had a lot of momentum. He's won a lot of matches where it matters now. He was doing a lot of losing before they actually got behind him, but he's got the streak going right now. If he loses, I think WWE, Hunter, the brainchild behind WWE at this point, I think they're smart enough to do something to where, in the end, LA Knight will come out looking better for his performance in Saudi Arabia against the top guy in our industry for the last 3.5 years.
Right. I mean, last year's WrestleMania, Cody lost to Roman Reigns.
Yes.
But they definitely didn't make it look like Cody just went out like a bitch.
And there was a lot of, just like Lex Luger at SummerSlam 93. It's not like Lex Luger at SummerSlam 93.
No. Because Cody wasn't a pillhead.
I don't know if Lex Luger was a pillhead in 93.
Well, that's not what I heard.
Who'd you hear that from?
I made it up.
Okay. I'll have you know that Lex Luger was the first wrestler I ever met.
Oh.
He was very nice to me, and I always have a soft spot for Lex. Sexy Lex, as my mom used to call him, right in front of my dad, which was awkward.
Well, actually, let me take it back. Lex Luger never did a drug in his life, and I'm sorry.
That's also not true, though.
Oh, okay.
You gotta meet me somewhere in the middle here, Sean.
He did drugs in moderation.
Okay. I don't know if that's... You know what? Let's just move on.
He has nothing to do with the death of Miss Elizabeth.
I will watch the Saudi Arabia show this weekend at some point. Probably not live when it happens.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
It is Saturday. Okay. This Saturday afternoon. And listen, if you don't watch the show, that's okay. If you don't want to support the ventures in Saudi Arabia, I totally get it. It's your choice. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on over there. There's a lot of stuff that's not cool that happens over there. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, whether you're watching or not, we're all wrestling fans. And hopefully we have some good stories coming out of whatever happens in Saudi Arabia, because I've been more in tune with the WWE product than I ever had as an adult. Like, it's crazy. Sean, there's some weeks when I actually watch the show, and mind you, I have friends in WWE where I think, oh man, I really like so-and-so's shirt. I want to buy it. Uh-huh. I can't remember the last time, like, as a wrestler in the business, I thought that. Like, I want, like, a recent WWE shirt. It's weird to actually enjoy wrestling.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's a great weird, though.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how weird it is to want to buy one of your friends' shirts, and not just to support them, but because you actually want the shirt.
Yeah, it's strange. But you know what's not strange? The fact that we have to wrap this up because podcasts have to end at some point.
You're right, that's not strange.
And we've actually gone longer than we have on most episodes since we've gone to video. So, wow, this was an interesting discussion. So, hey, we're going to take one last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take this bad boy home, and we're probably going to exchange some mutual kisses, if that's okay with you.
Probably.
Okay.
Sir, hello. Dude, they work on guy.
What are you doing? Why are you acting like Razor Ramon with his bad form in the Ico Pro commercial?
You talking to me, man? Carve you up.
Talk like a normal person.
Oh, I'm here because I'm working out. Oh, from TNT Health, baby. Have you tried it?
We know that Aaron's tried it. In fact, since the start of the year, Aaron's lost over 50 pounds while using supplements from TNT-Health.com. TNT Health is focused on your overall comprehensive health. They help track your eating, your workouts, and your supplements. TNT Health sells results. I use the creatine, the glutamine, and you think that I'm not using the protein powder? With 154 calories and 25 grams of protein per scoop, I assure you, the vanilla protein powder is great with or without water.
That's how you take your protein. Don't you... Water, dude.
You know, maybe Aaron's right. Use it with water or milk. Go to TNT-Health.com right now, buy any of their great products, and save 10% off with our promo code IRONON.
TNT Health.
Your health today,
not tomorrow.
That's it for this edition of Iron on Wrestling. Come back next week where we'll talk in a microphone again. Should be fun. We'll come up with something else wrestling related to talk about. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, though. That's where we're doing all of our shorter versions of the show, video versions. We got some stuff in the works. We just did a Halloween special that's been getting a lot of likes, a lot of positive feedback over on the YouTube, so check it out. YouTube, just search at Iron on Wrestling, subscribe so you get all the alerts, and check out some of the past videos in the archives. We're creating a lot of great content over there, so hop on board the YouTube train. Choo-choo! I should have had more enthusiasm when I did that, and I'm not going to redo it. It's okay, though. Follow us on social media at Iron on Wrestling for all the exclusive updates as well. You can find me on social media. I'm Gregory Iron over on X. I can't do a proper X because I have cerebral palsy. Instagram at Gregory_Iron. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thehandicappedhero. You can message me on any one of those platforms to book me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, or pro wrestling seminars. Got one coming up in December for top tier wrestling up in Canada. And I'm looking forward to helping you become perhaps maybe a better wrestler or a worse wrestler. Depends on how you interpret my advice. You know, it's perspective, right? Shifts the world around you. Why am I rambling like this right now? Cameo, you can get a shout out from me of some sort. Just search Gregory Iron, ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron. You can buy my shirts. You can buy Rod Destiny shirts, Iron on Wrestling shirts. You can buy Aaron shirts, and I strongly encourage you to buy Aaron shirts. Aaron is not in studio once again because he is that leg issue that we've talked about last week on the show. He's got a tear in his muscle, and he's recovering from that. Probably better than he should be, but he's out of work right now. So the best way to support Aaron is to buy a shirt over at ProWrestlingTees/Gregory Iron. Help the guy out. Send him a message if you can't do that. So, yeah, that's all I want to plug. Sean, do you want to plug anything?
Well, not that I can tell you on air.
Why can't you?
Well, your brother just got home.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see where this is going. Making this real weird. You tell me how big and voluptuous my breasts are?
I mean, I'm just saying. Penis ain't broken anymore.
As soon as this show is over, I have to shave my beard off so I can do that costume that I've already done in the future. Linda McMahon, baby. Get ready. It's going to be hot.
There you go.
It's going to make you moist. Speaking of moist, I have to give you a moist, luscious kiss goodbye.
All right.
Yeah, I like that.